What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So tomorrow is the big day. We're bringing out the FJ40. We're just going to a local ORV park. I just want to go for a quick run, make sure everything works as it should, just break this thing in a little bit before we go way up in the mountains. There is one thing, however, that I want to do before we take off. So I knew I was eventually going to do this, but if you look at this hood, you can see there's vents on both sides right here. And while all my electronics are right underneath this vent right here, I got the fuse box for the whole engine harness here. That's just a distribution block for my power, but still I want to keep all this dry. And then I do have the ECU down here. What I think I'm going to do is build a little tray, basically just to block all the water that comes in through that. I just want to cover all this up. Now all this really should be waterproof. This one has got a nice seal. You can see it's pretty, that's actually a very good seal. I think it honestly will be okay. I just don't want to chance it. The last thing I want is to be 20 miles out on the trail and it's dumping rain, get water in a connection or in the ECU somehow, maybe possibly getting water in something, and having to get outside in the dumping down rain, trying to fix it, trying to find where water's getting into a connection. I really don't want to deal with that. So I already got some cardboard here, my little tray water guard deal mocked up here. This is pretty close to what I think I'm going to do. I'm just going to make this out of 16 gauge, just some thin sheet metal, something easy to work with, easy to bend and whatnot. So I'm going to cut this out on the Plaz. We'll get that bent up, hopefully get it in place, and then we have to find a way to mount it so that we can take it off without any tools, so that if we blow a fuse or need to replace a relay or something, maybe just some wing nuts or something holding it in place, I think that'll be the best way to go about it. Alright guys, so far we've tried out two different setups on the Royal Coats powder coating setup. Now this one is a gun mounted cup and it's got the cup pump and the regulator right here on this cup. So this will just go right on the gun like that. It's a little bit bigger, but I think for smaller jobs it's going to be easier because we don't have to take this whole hose and fill this whole hose up with powder and then we got to clean that all. I think it's going to be a lot easier just to dump powder in this, and then when you're done you just clean this cup out and you don't have that big line to clean out. You don't waste near as much powder. So we're going to try this, and then we also got some new powder coat in. This stuff is called Westone Black. It's kind of like that textured black, but it's more of a wrinkle finish instead of the texture. I kind of want to try this out, so that's what we're going to run this time. Like always, this is from Prismatic Powders. Go check out Prismatic if you need any powder coat. They have seriously any color, any combination of color, with wrinkles, candy colors, literally anything you could ever imagine, they got it. Go check them out at prismaticpowders.com. So we're gonna get this loaded up. Honestly, it's a really small job, but you still need at least, he said at least about a quarter of the cup full of powder. So we'll go a quarter, maybe a third, and then when we're done, we just dump it back in there. We're not gonna waste all that, but you need enough powder in here to make this thing actually work. So I've never used this regulator setup. We're gonna have to fiddle with it a little bit, get it dialed in, but it just takes one hose that goes to the back of the control box here, and then obviously the ground, and then you plug the gun into the control box, power it, and we're ready to go. Well, we got it out of the oven. That wrinkle black looks really good. I'm having a hard time deciding if I like that wrinkle black or just the regular texture black. Either way, they both look really good. One thing I gotta say is that cup mounted on the gun with that regulator setup on the gun, that was my favorite. That's been the best spraying setup so far. Now I think the fluidizer you could definitely get to spray way better. It's a way better setup. It just takes a little more time to get dialed in. But I am perfectly happy with throwing some powder in that cup and spraying some stuff out with that simple setup. And I will say it's way easier to clean that way as well. Either way, we got to get this thing on the truck, and then we got to get this thing loaded up. It's getting late tonight. Wake up early in the morning. We're going to head out and see if we can have a little fun with this thing. Well guys, we're out of here. My buddy's coming over and it's just my truck going. We're just going for a little shakedown run, like I said, just a little quick run, just to make sure it doesn't fall apart. Let's get fired up, let's get out of here.
Dude, these 40s have some air in them.
Well guys, we made it. We were about 15 pounds of pressure in the tires, which is way too much, so we're dropping down. I'm gonna go like 8, see how that works, but hasn't fallen apart yet. Getting the floor dirty. She's smooth. Smooth, buddy. Well, that was easy. I thought that was gonna be a little more tough coming through that. She walked through it. I'm honestly so freaking impressed with this thing so far. I just pretty much idled through that. Not that it's crazy, but still went right through it. Not a bad little rock garden. Probably could have went over the big one right there to make it a little tougher, but not bad. All right, guys, made it back, loaded on the trailer. This thing is impressive. I mean, there's not that anything crazy out here, but anything we pointed at, it went straight up. I mean, we idle up, but about everything around here. So it is wet though, and this sand, when it does dry out, it definitely gets slick. So definitely, if it was dry out, it'd be a little more challenging in some spots, but thoroughly impressed with this thing so far. Well, we're back home, got her washed up, cleaned up, get her back in the shop. There isn't much that I really need to tinker with. There's one thing that I may do. So I got 3-inch travel bump stops, which these springs are definitely settling, which I could add more preload to the shocks to kind of pump it back up a little bit. But I kind of wanted this thing a little bit lower anyway. And now that it's kind of dropping down, the bump stops, they're constantly hitting off the pads. So you can actually take those bump stops apart and put a longer spacer in there so that the shaft sucks back up into the housing more, or into the body. I may do that, just go like a 2-inch travel. That'll get me a lot more travel to where I'm not just constantly bouncing off of the bump stops. So that's one thing I'll probably do here shortly. But other than that, this thing ran amazing, ran perfect, no issues with that. Well, actually, we did have a TPS check engine light come on, which is very weird. And I know I didn't film it, but I'll give you the rundown. So when I got this thing all back together with the harness, after I loomed it all, I got it back together, got it running, and it was throwing a TPS check engine light. And I fought it for like 4 days trying to figure out what was wrong with it. It ended up being the O2 sensors I had swapped, the plugins. So I swapped that back. It didn't run at all weird today, but the check engine light did come on and that same TPS code came on. So I cleared it and it didn't come back on. So I guess I'll keep an eye on that. I really don't know what that would be, because I verified all the wiring in the TPS system. It's got a brand new OEM TPS in it. So it could have just been a fluke, kind of. I doubt it. Something might be going on there, but it ran perfect, so I don't really know. But other than that, this thing is a beast. I know that it wasn't like no crazy obstacles or anything, but just for a shakedown run and seeing what this thing can do, I mean, it walked through everything we put it to. I was doing some of those hills in 2-wheel drive and it just lugged right up it. These tires, I aired them down to about 8 pounds. That made a huge difference. I was at like 17 or 18 when I went out there. I knew it was way too high, but I figured I'd try it and then air down and try it. And the 8 PSI made a huge difference. It hooks up everywhere. Anyways, I'm happy with it. I'm stoked. I got to plan out some more. I want to plan out a snow run. I need to get some guys together, get some rigs together. I just wanted to go through and shake this thing down, make sure we don't have any major issues. Well, anyways, I'm gonna go inside, edit this video. Hopefully, I'm hoping we got some good footage. I had my buddy who's never really ran a camera before. I had him behind the camera a little bit, so I'm hoping that it turned out good. Thanks a lot, Nick, for coming with and helping me film. We'll go check it out. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. Why don't you go smash that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.